Hello?
On the line, we have the mighty Mike Supina from a Wilhelm Scream. Psycho Myko, it's Rowan from Silver Tiger Media.
Hey,
How are
what's
you,
going
mate?
on, man? How you doing?
Very good indeed, thanks, buddy. It's a thrill to speak to you. Thanks very much for your time.
Roland, awesome. Pleasure.
Thank you, mate. You joined a Wilhelm Scream in 2008. How has the journey been since then?
Oh, it's been incredible. Been to so many places that I thought I'd never been, would ever be to, and places I never thought I'd, Oh, I'm sorry. We're trying to move the van right now. It's been absolutely incredible, though. Like I said, it's been to so many places I thought I would never have been to, and played so many great shows, met so many great people. It's been an absolute trip, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I absolutely love it.
Oh, fantastic. Look, my favourite track off Party Crasher is, in fact, your own work. Your Iceman Left a Trail. What inspired this track?
Oh, no way. Oh, man. Well, it's funny because, two things inspired it. The song itself is kind of about friendship, and but originally the riff actually came from, I remember I think I may have been walking my dog, or I may have been driving out to go run some errands one day, and Trevor had called me, and we were just shooting the shit, and we tend to talk on the phone for long periods of time about just, life, recording, music, all that stuff. And he had mentioned one day, he's like, hey, I need you to write a riff that's kind of like a Thin Lizzy riff. I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do here then, because I dig Thin Lizzy a lot, and so does he. And originally that riff was actually written way slower. It was kind of a poundy, kind of a ta da da ta ta da 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 ta da, kind of like an older Whiskey in the Jar kind of vibe or something, And but then we just kind of ramped it up on crack, and then it became what it was. But that's kind of the story behind that, actually.
Oh, brilliant. I think Phil Lynott would really enjoy it. I mean that with the greatest of respect to the man, of course.
Oh, I'm really glad you dig it. That's awesome.
Oh, it's great. And the title track, Party Crasher, was left off the album. What was the story behind that?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? I'm trying to guide my my tour manager to fit our 15-passenger van and trailer in this tiny ass little alleyway. But I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again? My apologies.
That's all right, mate. We'll just wait for the bang in the background. It's only the tour manager. You'll be okay. But the title track, Party Crasher. Party Crasher was left off the album. What was the story behind that?
Oh, you know what? Well, it was this really long. I mean, this song is about probably maybe right now. I feel like it's about a 7-minute song or something.
Oh,
it's a really long song with a very intricate, at least at the time, with a very intricate middle section and instrumental part. And Trevor had written it on acoustic, and it's I really dig it a lot. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And but the thing is though, it never came together because it was such a long song, and I know that when we started doing this album, we recorded it ourselves. And that was a big learning curve because, it's kind of our first experience besides the EP of really going for it. We totally tore down the studio and redid everything, new equipment. So getting the equipment to talk to each other and play well together was a big hassle. And then on top of that, there were a couple songs that still weren't finished or played as a band.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of it was a very hectic 2011, at least for me, But
absolutely.
that song never, it never got finished though, just because I think of the touring schedule as well as finally putting a deadline on the record and saying, hey, okay, let's try to have it out by this time. And it just kind of got pushed to the back. But in a way, I think it's cool because maybe that song just wasn't ready. You know what I mean? It's funny because there's a song actually on the album called Wild Turkey, and that song was originally written for the EP that we did in 2010, but it never came to light, and then it finally made its way onto this album. So I think it's just one of those delayed things where it's just somehow it's just not ready yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's already in the works now with a new arrangement, and we're really looking forward to getting it out now.
Fantastic. It sounds like the perfect candidate for its EP.
Yeah. We're thinking like a 7-inch or something. Because there was another song actually there was another song that actually didn't make the album, and same kind of thing. The music was actually recorded for it and everything. It's kind of like, as Trevor calls our arena rock song, and it's cool. It's called "Not Your Enemy," and but yeah, that song just never got finished up yet either. So we've got plans to finally cap those songs off, and we're thinking about doing a 7-inch, but we're not sure yet. Just still floating around ideas, so we'll see what happens with those.
That sounds awesome. Absolutely terrific. Mate, how's that van and trailer going?
Oh, it's actually parked right now. It's perfect. Fantastic. There's enough room for people to get around it, so everything worked out perfect.
That's pretty good.
Sorry for that little delay there.
No, that's perfectly all right. We appreciate your time. So April and May, you're coming out to see us, which is hugely exciting. Can't wait to see you out here again. Have you toured back here again since 2013?
No, we have not. Actually, 2013, that was Hits and Pits, if I'm not mistaken, that we had
Absolutely
done.
was,
and, yeah, that was a blast, absolute blast. But we haven't been out since then, actually, and really looking forward to going back because I love Australia. I absolutely love it. I remember the first time I went in 2008 with a band, and I fell in love with the country. It's really bizarre. Like I said this the other day on another interview, how Melbourne is like my favorite city in the world. Like if I could live there, I would live there. and the thing is, though, it was cool because we had like a Sprinter van, and we did a lot of like traveling by van. So we got to see a lot of the countryside by like traveling to shows. And it's really bizarre because I'm from Michigan, and a lot of the scenery like throughout these drives reminded me a lot of like northern Michigan. Like, which is really bizarre, but only the sun is on the other side. It was like really bizarre, but like felt like home in a way, So I'm really looking forward to coming back. I love it there.
Oh, brilliant. How far are you from Detroit?
Me, I'm about like a half hour north of Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about a good half hour. So like suburbs of Detroit, yeah.
Fantastic. And what can we expect from the Australian shows?
High energy, drunken fun fest.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Just us being ourselves, coming out there and giving it our all, and just playing for people who want to watch us play, and just having a good time. We definitely have a couple shows too that are sold out already, and we added a couple others, and we're going to have a request set, actually, I believe it's going to be a second Melbourne show, which will be like a request set. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, like I said, yeah, just coming out, just regular-ass dudes from the States just playing some music for people who hopefully want to hear it,
And there's thousands of us that dig your work. There's no two ways about it. We've sold out shows. I hope that's a good indication.
Oh, yeah, I am so stoked, Yeah,
wonderful. Do you think you'll play Australians for us?
You know what? Man, we haven't played that song, I feel like, in like 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And I'd really like to play it again because it's funny. The first time I ever came to Australia in 2008, that was the first riff that I had written with Trevor. So that song kind of holds like a special meaning to me, like a sentimental thing, because it was literally the first. I remember we were at this place, I think it was in Brisbane, a place called Toowong Villas. We had this little hotel set up like right when we got in for like our day off, and I remember sitting in like our little hotel like family room kind of mini room area with our guitars, like just jamming riffs and going over stuff. And I remember walking around like Melbourne too, like coming up with an arrangement in my head and like solidifying and being like, Trav, I think I got like a cool arrangement. And then after that tour, came home and recorded the arrangement, and that's what became the song. Like, of course, with his lyrics and his other guitar parts and everything. And but yeah, I really hope we'll play it because I really enjoy the song.
Hopefully it'll be big on the request list for the second Melbourne show. I'm presuming you'll be doing that via Facebook or something similar?
Yeah, probably Facebook and Twitter, I imagine. Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll forgive the old fart like me just going off as soon as you play it when you play in Melbourne.
No.
But it would seem you favour the Gibson Les Paul. What particularly do you like about it?
It just feels really good. I don't know, like one of the first things, like, well, my favorite guitarist of all time is Van Halen. Like, hands down, is like Edward Van Halen. So when I first started playing guitar, I was really into Nirvana, and that's what, like, I remember in, like, sixth grade, I was in sixth grade, and I remember when Kurt Cobain died, and that was, like, the day I really started getting into guitar. Like, I was into it a little bit before that, but I started really getting into guitar, and my father, he plays guitar. He played in bands and stuff as well. So
oh wow!
I remember he like brought out his Strat. Yeah, he brought out his Strat, and like that's how I started to learn how to play guitar. My brother, he played drums and stuff. But anyway, and then it was Van Halen. But I remember like early on, like watching some videos, some old videos of Thin Lizzy, and the guitarist, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Scott Gorham,
yes,
played this like. He played this awesome, like, Cherry Burst Les Paul Deluxe with the mini humbuckers, and it was like they played The Boys Are Back in Town and Jailbreak. He had these, like, video clips. My dad's got, like, this huge, like, library of, like, just, like, videos and bootleg videos and stuff. But anyway, I remember seeing that, and he had the best hand, like, vibrato hand ever, where he would, like, just make the note vibrate like in the best way, you know, like just so much like stink, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yep.
I remember seeing that and I'm like, man, that is super cool. So I can totally relate to that, like in the Les Paul regard, you know what I mean? But especially when I joined this band too, I was actually a late bloomer to Gibsons because I don't know, I just played other guitars and stuff, and I was young, and I don't know, I wanted to play something different than a Gibson. Everybody had a Gibson, but you know, what it boils down to is Gibson and Fender. I mean, those are the OGs, you know what I mean? And it's stupid not to play one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I joined the band, I was like, I should get a Gibson, you know, and I love them, you know, they're great.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I reckon your tour manager would be best to comment on this, but do AWS have any wild rider requests?
Not really, no.
I was hoping
maybe
for
a little
something
water,
really
a little beer. I mean, we'll take whatever, you know, whatever anybody can give us, you know, and whatever, you know, don't matter. But usually we ask for weed.
Oh, fantastic.
That's kind of the number one, weed and water, you know. And then if there's some beers that can be thrown in, then that's cool too. Or maybe if we're down in Australia, then bring us to the beach, you know.
Indeed. Oh,
we don't
what
ask
more could
for
you
much.
wish for? Beach, weed, and water. Fantastic. Yeah. Do you have a favourite track to perform from Party Crasher at the moment?
I've actually, you know what, man, it's hard to really pick one. Man, they're all like really fun. I think I'm having a hard time picking one because it's like my first full length with the guys. But I don't know. It's a lot of fun to play. I don't know. It's a lot of fun to play Wise Man. I really like playing that song a lot. It's just fun noodling Wise and singing, you know. But it's also fun to play Iceman. But then Boat Builders is a lot of fun too because there's a lot of cool like harmonies we get to do. And I know I didn't answer that question very well, but I guess my answer is I don't know. I like them all.
Well, it's probably a better question for you. Is there anything from AWS days gone by that you haven't played yet, but you would like to?
Usually it's stuff off of Ruiner that I really enjoy playing. There's other stuff off of like actually all the albums. There's a lot of stuff that I really enjoy playing. On Career Suicide, we just started playing a song called Pardon Me, Thanks a Lot, which the band's never played, and I've never played with the band since the album came out and since I joined, but that's been like a lot of fun to play. Another one was on the Australian release of Ruiner, which was Bodies as Suitcases, and that's probably one of my most favorite songs to play, but we don't play it very often, but I'm really going to push for it on this Australian tour just because it was an Australian release as well, and I just love it. I really dig it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very magnificent choice indeed. Would you have a favourite live gig so far?
Favorite live gig? You know what? I heard Brian say this earlier on an interview that he had just done, but one of my most memorable gigs, well, two come to mind that are like probably, I'll say the top. First one was, they're both in the same year too, was Groesrock in Belgium. The first time I ever played, it was like 8 to 10,000 people in this like festival. Like first time I'd ever been to Europe, and it was such a surreal experience. It was like mind blowing to me, you know. So that was incredible. But I have to say the other one would be in Melbourne, the Art House, which I from what I hear is sadly shut down now, or under different ownership. But that was probably one of the most memorable shows of my life, because I remember coming over to Australia the first time, you know, really loving Australia. And we stayed in the flats up above, and the show was sold out. I remember, I think it sold out at 3:30, and I think they had let like 360 people in or something like that, and we're still turning people away. And it was such a good feeling to like have people want to be out there and singing along with us, you know. And it's just, I'm really glad we got to play that place. It was just such a magical night, you know. So that's probably one of my most favorite shows ever.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Well, look, we can't wait to see you again here, and hopefully we can have an even bigger reception for you this time. As soon as you get here, I'm going to hit you up to sign my limited edition Les Paul Dusk Tiger.
Oh, awesome.
Terrific. Mate, thank you very much for your time, Mike, and look, safe travelling, and we'll catch you when you get here.
Thank you so much. Absolutely, and thank you again for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
That's our pleasure, mate.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.